Greetings, everyone. Here's some of you out there saying, well, I really want to get C.O.P.S. I like that it's coming out on DVD, but I don't want to invest in something without a guarantee that it's going to be complete, so I'm just going to wait until the whole series is out before I buy it. No! Don't! Don't do that. Seriously. Doing that is the worst possible thing you can do, and if you do that, you're not a true fan of C.O.P.S. That's right, I said it. Fan support, and why it is so important, so critically, crucially important to DVD releases like this, that's what we're going to talk about today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Well, not going to be too long of a ramble this time because this is a fairly straightforward point, but I really wanted to get it out there and stress it as much as I possibly could. I've seen some posts on the message boards and forums and whatnot regarding the DVD releases where people are essentially saying what I, sort of mockingly said in the intro there, that they don't want to invest in a show unless they can be guaranteed that it's complete. I mean, well, what kind of fan does that make you? Seriously. I don't consider those kinds of people with that kind of philosophy to be true fans, and I'll tell you why. Because true fans will do everything in their power to support the official releases, regardless of whether or not it's complete. So there's that aspect of it. Don't call yourself a fan if you're not going to be supporting the releases as they come out. I mean, most of us bought this one 2, if not more years ago. This came out 4 years ago. 2006 is when Volume 1 came out. It is now 2010, and we just got Volume 2. For the past 4 years, we have been trying to convince Shout Factory to put out the rest of the series. There's been petitions. There's been countless messages on the forums. Every time a new obscure cartoon comes out on DVD from Shout Factory, inevitably, one or more of us C.O.P.S fans chime in and say, that's great that this show's coming out. When can we expect more C.O.P.S? We've been driving them crazy over there. But, and it's not through lack of love of the show that Shout Factory wasn't doing it. No, I know for a fact that Brian Ward himself is a big fan of this show. He loves it. And I mean, who wouldn't? He's an 80s cartoon freak like us. And that's why us 80s cartoon fans are overjoyed to have someone like him in charge of these DVD sets, because he actually cares about the material and goes out of his way to make them happen. I mean, he finds any way he possibly can to get these releases out into the hands of fans, and puts a lot of work into that. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, to get the rights to a show and then release it, but so here's why it's so important. Here's why it's so important that you support these releases. We almost didn't get this because this didn't sell well. Why didn't this sell well? Well, a number of reasons. First off, as I discovered when I did my original C.O.P.S video 2 years ago, a lot of fans simply didn't know that it was out on DVD. They just didn't know. Because Shout Factory relies a lot on word-of-mouth advertising and internet advertising. That's one of the reasons they're able to bring out a lot of obscure shows that the bigger studios wouldn't touch, is because they don't have the marketing and advertising budget, so they put more of their funds and effort and whatnot into rights acquisition, which means there's not really anything left over for advertising. But, generally speaking, the fan bases are sufficient to advertise a release. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing this huge series of videos about C.O.P.S, because I really want the fans to know about these releases. Now, the original volume was a full retail release, so it was available in certain stores. Not all stores, but I did see it on a few store shelves. This one, however, really needs the fan support. Why? Because it's not available in stores. It is only available through Shout Factory or specially selected sellers on Amazon and eBay. So if we don't buy this and we don't tell fans about it, the likelihood of a Volume 3 is even less. And this brings me to my final point, which relates to everything I was just saying. If you want to see this series, or any series, completed on DVD, the worst thing you can possibly do is sit on the fence and wait to see if it's completed. Don't do that. Don't. Like, just get that philosophy out of your head. Get this whole I only buy complete series crap out of your head. Because an obscure show like this, which we're lucky to have on DVD at all, will not ever be completed if these initial volumes don't sell well enough. Now granted, with this being a direct-to-consumer release, we don't need to see as many sales in order for it to, qualify the third volume for release. But it still needs to hit a certain target. It still needs to make certain numbers. And if you're going to sit on the fence and wait for the complete series to release, you're actually hurting the chances of that happening. So don't do it. Please. I'm begging you. Support the releases. Show that you're a true fan. And who cares if it's never completed? Would you rather have no episodes on DVD at all? Or would you rather have 43 plus a bunch of cool extras? I mean, come on. Call me crazy, but as a fan of a lot of different things, I consider some better than none. I'd rather have all, ideally, but if all I get is some, then hey, I'll be happy with that, because at least I've got something, I mean, if it bugs you that much to not have the complete series after investing in the first 2 volumes, sell them! Just buy them now to support the release and to encourage the release of the final volume. But if over time the final volume doesn't look like it's ever coming out and it really irritates you that you have an incomplete set in your collection, just sell them. There's other real C.O.P.S fans out there who would love to have them. But in the meantime, for crying out loud, just get that complete series or nothing, complete series or bust philosophy out of your head. It really burns me up to see this. I see this all the time with TV show releases that aren't completed or that are in limbo, where people are saying, like, I'm not going to support the current releases until they put out the whole thing. And it's like, well, guess what? That show you're a fan of is too obscure to justify a complete series release and the expense of a complete series release right off the bat, right out of the gate. So if you don't buy the season sets or the volumes or whatever the case may be, chances are you're never going to see the rest of it, because you're only hurting your own cause. So that's that. Oh, ranting and raving is hard on the throat. Much better. Pint of ice water. Alright, so that's basically it in a nutshell. So if you want to see the rest of C.O.P.S on DVD, the best thing you can possibly do is, first and foremost, buy the 2 volumes that are out. Just buy them. You can get them both through Shout Factory, and you can get them through Amazon, and you can get them through eBay. There is one seller on Amazon and one seller on eBay that have been officially authorized by Shout Factory to sell Volume 2 direct to you, the fans. I got mine through the eBay seller. Really great service. He even refunded a bit of shipping for me, because apparently the actual shipping cost turned out to be less than he thought. So, cool. Hey, works for me. Which reminds me, I gotta leave him feedback. I gotta leave him glowingly positive feedback, because his service was outstanding and it arrived, promptly. I don't think it took more than about 10 days to get to me, which is pretty good, considering there's usually a weekend in the middle there somewhere. And yeah, great stuff. So whatever the case may be, if you got a credit card, go through Shout Factory. If you're outside of the US or Canada, go through the Amazon seller for credit card, or if you got PayPal, go through the eBay seller. It's easily obtainable. And for the love of poop, tell as many people as you possibly can about the release. Point them to these videos. You know, point them to my videos, point them to the Shout Factory website, point them to the Amazon listings, whatever. Whatever the case may be, tell them about C.O.P.S on DVD, because I don't know about you, but I'd really like to get the last 22 episodes. And I'd really like to see what the rest of those extras are that Brian was talking about. Actually, one of the things Brian was talking about was there's more background paintings, or as they were called in Volume 1, concept art. I would love to see more of those background paintings, because those are just beautiful, beautiful stuff. Love stuff like that. All right, so where are we at here? There's one more part to go, and then C.O.P.S week is done. Next time, we're going to talk about C.O.P.S, the comic book. That's right, they did a comic book. It ran for 15 issues over the course of 1 year. It actually lasted pretty much as long as the series did. But we'll talk all about that next time. Until then, thanks for watching, and sayonara. And go buy Volume 2 if you haven't already.